Hi everybody, welcome to the Signal box today. I hope you're all doing well and thank you for joining me in this video today. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe and we'll get on with today's video. So, I have before me, the postman has just brought this long object. I wonder what's inside. Well, shall we see? I can tell you right now it's come all the way from Northern Ireland, Belfast actually. So let's see what's come all the way from Northern Ireland. Grab yourself a beverage and I'll see you in a mo. Okay, just took everything out of the box and I found this nice little note inside from the seller on eBay, and it was rather a personal touch. It was very nice actually, some very kind words he said there. He said, in my opinion, for sheer elegance and design, nothing on track can beat a Gresley A4. And I say that as a London, Cheltenham and Dover fan. Enjoy. And I think his name's David. Well, thank you very much, David. Really enjoyed this purchase, and I must say I'm looking forward to showing everybody else. So let's just put that to one side. Secondly, get this out of the way, and then look at this. Here we go, folks. Look at the box. Isn't that an absolute cracker? Obviously, it's a Hornby model, as we can see in the box there, and this is Seagull with side balances and crew. Obviously the A4s, some of them have the side balances over the wheels, some of them have them without. But this is an absolutely stunning model. The box is absolutely mint. This is absolutely really good. I don't do box reviews, but in my opinion that box is in a very fair condition. Would you not agree? That's quite nice. Very nice. Interestingly enough, I don't know how old this model is, but I can tell you from fact that this model was manufactured in about 1981, about June 1981 precisely. These were knocked out of the Margate factory in England, and interestingly enough, look at the 1981 prices. List price is £30.50, but our price in Leisure World is £15.25. That's a bit of a joke because many people may or may not know, but there's another meaning to the word Leisure World, or Leisure World as we say over here in England. But in America, Leisure World is a bit like a Disneyland theme park for senior citizens. It's a bit of a joke actually. It's not a derogatory term, but in America, yeah, if you go into Leisure World for the day, they pick you up in a little minibus and they take all the senior citizens out for the day to this park called Leisure World. But it just sort of tickled me, that sticker there. But yeah, £15.25. Wow. Can you imagine, guys, walking into a model shop these days? Well, that's hard to do because there aren't many about, because of the online sales have killed the model shops in the high street. But let's just say if I went down to my local model shop, which is Jane's Trains in Tooting, and I said, have you got one of these for £15.25? I doubt it. So I love that retro bit of pricing on there. That's brilliant. I love that sticker. Brilliant. But the box, as you can see, the display card is absolutely fantastic. It's excellent condition. Anyway, I'm just going to stop this briefly and we're going to take it out of the box and have a little look, shall we? Okay, just taken the inner tray out of the display box, and the first thing that greets us is these two pieces of paper, these are great. These are nice and retro and good to keep. These obviously are I'll zoom out a little bit. These are the maintenance and the technical sheets they give you, or did give you back in the day with Hornby models. Nowadays they're only a fraction of the size you get, and it's very, very small. But back in the day of good old Margate made stuff, you got these two important bits of paper. That's the maintenance and oiling bit, and this one here is the one that gives it away, its age, because if we open this up and we look at the top, guys, if you read it from left to right, you'll see an R number. It says R372 first of all. The R number and the catalogue number is R372, so that's R and the first three numbers after that, 372. And then you've got a 1 and a 5, which is 15. Then you've got a 3, and then you've got 1983. So this was made on the 15th of March 1983. Wow. I remember what I was doing in 1983. I was in junior school. A year or two after Charles and Diana's wedding, I think. Yeah, 1983. my goodness. I remember what was on the radio in those days, what was on television, my favourite children's programmes, my favourite food, favourite sweets, and what was in the charts, what films were out. 1983, wow, what a time machine that is. I'll just have to wipe my glasses. There's a bit of water residue on my lens. 1983, wow. So here we go. Let's bung that out of the way because we don't really care too much about that. This is what we came for, folks. This is what we came for inside. At the moment of truth, what's in here? Let's reveal what's in here. Here we go. Oh, wow. Look at that. Isn't she a beauty? That's a lovely model. That's just a little specks of dust on there, nothing. It's actually in very, very, very immaculate condition. Very good. This is definitely, as I saw it on eBay advertised, there's nothing untoward about this. It's perfect. Let's go for a closer look even more. That mark on there just comes off easy. The seller did inform me via message this model had been tested at the time when it was bought, and then a few years after that, but mainly it lay in storage for a very, very long time. But obviously David, who's the seller, has looked after it incredibly well. And David, if you even see this video up on YouTube by some miraculous process of social media or how you view it, thank you so much for the trade. I really do appreciate this model, and it's going to go to a good home on my railway. It's going to be immaculately looked after as you've done so, sir. But yeah, it's a lovely model, and I haven't got this one. Obviously this is Seagull, and this is obviously a Gresley A4 Pacific. And straight away, if you don't know about steam trains or trains in general, most people would recognise, oh, I don't know what technical bits, but I know that looks like that train Mallard, the really fast one that broke the steam record in July 1938. And you'd be correct in saying that. This is one of the sister engines of Mallard. This is obviously Seagull, as I've just said, and it's a Gresley A4 Pacific. It's got the lovely garter blue finish on the bodywork and also on the tender. And the correct colour on this is garter blue, and believe it or not, the wheels were known as Indian red, which was the correct shade of red for those driving wheels, the wheels at the front, under the cab, and also on the tender. Anyway, what I'll do, I'll just pause this and we'll get her out of the box actually onto the table in front of me, and we can have a proper look, can't we? See you in a mo. Okay, so let's get this back out of the box, or onto the table for the first time, carefully. Well, there's the tender, and here comes the loco onto the table very carefully. Put it like that. Just move it a little bit like that. There we are. There we go. What a machine. That's a lovely, lovely thing, isn't it? Isn't that lovely? There's a few little dust spots on there that I can see. Again, just wipe away with the finger. As mentioned, the chaps had this in storage for a very, very, very long time. I was only test run it maybe twice in its whole lifespan, and it's basically never seen a proper run on a layout, I don't think, judging by the appearance and from what he said, which is completely true. But as you can see, for a model that's got basic detail, that basic bit of detail is really important, because it gives the eye still the impression that you're looking at an A4. Straight away you can recognise this, oh, it's one like Mallard, or it's definitely one of those streamlined ones. This one obviously being Seagull, and as mentioned, it's a Hornby Margate made model, which makes it really collectible in my opinion, because all the stuff's made in China these days. In terms of Bachmann and the Hornby stuff, it's very rare to find a British made model railway product these days. It's a lovely, lovely thing, isn't it? And it's in garter blue, is the official name for the shade of blue, and the wheels are known as Indian red. Then they follow all the way along to the tender. The tender itself is very nice. So that crisp gold London North Eastern Railway lettering on the side there. It really pops with that garter blue and that finish of that Indian red around the letters as well there. If we come in and just have a look at that. Very crisply applied in the Margate factory. It's all pretty standard. All the bogie truck or the tender truck details, they're all moulded in terms of brake rigging, springs, leaf springs, that sort of thing, brake shoes. They're all cast moulded as one part, but it's still a nice thing. Looking on top, you've got some moulded believable coal on there. The tender profile for the top of the tender is slightly incorrect because again, this is the only minus thing I'm picking out on this area here. This area should be slightly raised up more, so it actually sits above the line of coal. But other than that, it's a very crisp looking tender. They've modelled correctly the tender corridor, which is that bit there, that L-shaped piece of moulding, which allowed the train crew to cross over from the carriage at the front of the train all the way through the gangway, along inside the tender, through to the footplate. And there's the door. If we just spin this around to the light, you can probably make out on that shot there, on the left hand side, right above that long moulded shovel, on the left there's a door there. That's where the footplate crew would have come out, that's relieving the current crew on the footplate. Here's an interesting fact about this loco, or two interesting facts. When it came to Sir Nigel Gresley designing these A4s, obviously Mallard being the world record holder for steam traction still, Gresley came up with a brilliant idea that why couldn't he have a locomotive that actually went non-stop, like Flying Scotsman was the first loco to do that non-stop service. But one of the trademarks of Gresley's tender locos was that the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority or some of them had what's called a corridor tender, which is this bit here as mentioned. And the way he got that idea from was that the rumour had it that Sir Nigel Gresley at home took his dining room chairs and put them up against the wall and the table and created a little walkway, and he worked out the exact distance that would be needed for a person to actually physically walk inside a tender all the way through to the front of the cabin footplate by using his dining room chairs as a gauge for width, which was a really fascinating idea. That story always still tickles me. Looking at the loco itself, again, being a Margate made model, there isn't much detail on it, but what you can see gives it away. Yes, this is an A4. And again, I'm very excited to own this model because it's Seagull. I haven't got Seagull, and this will go with my current A4 collection. There's still a nice piece of detail on the side of the loco though. For example, if we look up near the chimney, you can begin to pick out rivets there. All the way down, there's some rivet detail on the chassis and running plate. There's on the valances, should I say, there's rivet detail all the way along there, which is nice. On top, there's some rivet detail going along there, which is a very nice little touch there as well. It's a good way also to hide the seam where the two body halves have been joined together in the factory. Now, Bachmann should watch and learn from this one, because Bachmann are notorious for having their tender engines, the actual boiler, the join seam you can still see on some Bachmann models. Some are really bad. And so Hornby have sort of overcome this problem by just simply disguising it up with some rivets. And that looks really lovely. In the light there, you can just make out there's some finger marks on there. That might be from me, it might be just from where it's been stored. But again, overall, the condition of this locomotive is immaculate. There really isn't much to negatively say about this model. She's in excellent condition. Very free running as well, I might add. Very, very good. Also, what came with the loco was a little bag with a driver and fireman and some vacuum pipes, so that's handy. What I'm going to do is paint those accordingly and then put them in the respective places on the footplate at a later date. I'm not going to add a working firebox to this. I'm not going to weather it. I'm not going to do anything to it because it's too nice and too crisp, and it's a Margate made model. I cannot be blaspheming Margate works and doing anything to this really. Although I could do it, I'm not going to do it because it's just too nice to do anything to. It's such a nice model. I do love this. And I remember a really cool fact about this loco as well has just come to mind. If you look at this chimney on this A4, this particular example, just of note that Sir Nigel Gresley, when he designed and built Mallard, Seagull was one of the 4 original A4s built in July 1938 that had the double blast Kyle Chap chimney, which is that bit on top there. As you can see, it's got 2 chimneys there. It's a double chimney, as the name suggests. But the later A4s that were released after these little A4 collection, there was only 4. The later versions that came out all had single chimneys, and they were converted sort of midway through life during the 1950s. About 1956, 57, the rest were converted to have double chimneys. I think most of them. There was one or two out there, don't correct me if I'm not wrong, but there was maybe 1 or 2 out there that retained their single chimney, but the majority that did have single chimneys were converted to double chimneys about halfway through their life, because the double blast Kyle Chap chimneys were really, really successful, especially on the Flying Scotsman, and most of the loco companies really, really learnt a lot from these machines. But tremendously powerful machines, very, very fast. In terms of haulage, if you put this in real life next to a Britannia, the Britannia will outmatch it in terms of power. So will the 9F. A Duchess has got the power, but this machine, these A4s, have definitely got the speed where it counts. And you can see from this wonderful design that Sir Nigel Gresley absolutely got it spot on with streamlining. Because don't forget, back in those days, folks, everything was about streamline and Art Deco. Everything that looked streamlined or looked fast while standing still was the vogue, and it was the range. And Art Deco is one of my favourite art periods anyway. I love anything with Art Deco, be it buses or trains or buildings. I love Art Deco, and this machine screams Art Deco. It really does. A lovely thing. Anyway, what I'll do, if we flip it over carefully, I'll put it on to this tray and we can have a look at the wheels, because there's something else as well. Look at these. Hang on. I'll just put her nicely on there like that. I'll move that to there like that. Right. Look at these wheels. Absolutely in top nick. Brilliant. Not a mark on those at all. Can't grumble at those whatsoever. They are absolutely spotless. The tender wheels are all there, complete, nice and shiny. Not going to have to do anything with those. The traction tyres are on there. And the thing to look at with this model, or any tender model that you get from Hornby, or any loco that's got geared wheels, is to always check the wear of the teeth to make sure they're not worn down or broken or damaged. And these look to be absolutely fine, no problem there. Just a tiny little bit of dust there, which I can get some tweezers and just within 1/10 of a second fleck away, not a problem. But everything on there is really good. It's a very, very, very good condition A4. Also, I'll let you agree with me on this one. You may or may not agree, you most likely will, but another advantage of these Margate made models is that they're so easy to disassemble and do maintenance on. For example, these conrods here, they've got a single center screw right here, and you can undo that. It releases that linkage, and also there's a spacer washer in between there as well, big chunky spacer washer. You can quite happily put that in a container and take the thing apart. That crank will come out and everything will nicely disassemble for you to do maintenance on. Really, really good. Interestingly enough, we talked the other day in the previous video about the tender connection electrically between a loco and a tender. These days on the Bachmann and the Hornby models, you've got a very, very flimsy piece of wire, or actually 4 pieces of wire joined together on a male to female plug system that goes right where that tender pin is there. And they're very fragile and they're very flimsy, as I've mentioned. But good old Margate made models, they've just got one chunky pin connection there with the 2 prongs that are joined to the pony truck there, and everything is very accessible. So more importantly, if we see here, I'll just rotate this tender over and we can look at something nice in the bottom. Look at that. Hornby, made in Great Britain. And we've got the part number in the back there for the rear swivel tender bogie there. And the same on this loco. If we flip her over, you'll see on the bottom there, if I can catch that in the light, come on. Is it gonna let me? Is it gonna let me? It's upside down. Right, I'll try and just get this so we can see it properly. Hang on guys, that's better. Too much shadow there, but that's better, isn't it? Just there we go. Hornby, made in Great Britain. And if we look somewhere on the body, there should be an R number. Yeah, there we go. If we just spin it round again, very carefully maneuver that round there, we should see, there you go, there's the R number. So it will say that's Alpha Lima. I can make that out there. Come on camera, focus. There we go. Alpha Lima 5357, which is the reference number for that body shell. And that's what you'd use that to for a spare parts request or just a factory catalogue number on there. But as you can see, she's just lovely. Just move that there, put that there, and there we go. So there is my lovely Seagull, and hopefully this one won't be flying over here dropping surprises on me, but she is a lovely model. And this would have been the way that it would have been rolled out from the workshops, brand new in 1938, that lovely garter blue with the valances on the side there. Obviously during its running time on British Railways after nationalisation in 1948, this would have received many liveries of different colours. It would have received wartime black, Brunswick green, for example. It really would have looked the part. But I love this livery, this beautiful, beautiful blue colour. Very nice. Okay, well that is it. That's my little unboxing of a Hornby A4 Seagull. I do hope you've enjoyed the video today. And the next thing we're going to do is have a look at the loco running on my railway tomorrow, which is Saturday. This will be out in service and we'll have a good look. I don't anticipate any problems with this because it's a tender drive model, the motor being in the tender, not the loco. And it's a very simple but very robust mechanism. And from experience, I've never had a problem with these. So when I open up this tender body in a minute and have a little look to see what's what, I can say with confidence that all the parts in there will be very, very good condition. Springs and brushes, everything, commutator will be nice and clean. I don't anticipate any problems with this whatsoever. So I'm very happy chappy today. So there is 4902 added to the collection today, and I'll see you soon in the next video when we'll have a run-in on the railway. Take care, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and have a lovely day. See you soon now. Bye bye.